Hello and welcome to today's noob tip of the day, Deathwaves. Why do I have a bunch of skull and crossbones on all my buildings and everyone's dying? The main driver of Deathwaves is how you zone. Especially once you hit, I guess it's milestone, I want to say it's like around 6, it might be, I forget the name of the actual milestone where you unlock high density. So high density residential and high density commercial. And usually around that time, you know, you've got your second tile, maybe your first tile's kind of fully developed. You know, so you have 6, 8, 5, something like that, 1,000 citizens. Hopefully, you've been doing a pretty good job with your services and everything, and you know you're making some money, and you have the ability to kind of like, yeah, you're doing well because you've been handling light density real well. So you're happy and you're pumped and you're confident in your city, so you go ahead and have the ability to start actually framing out areas, much like this one. You know, you can go ahead and start building, okay, your road networks first because you have the money to do so, and then once you do that, you pause the game for whatever reason, and you say, okay, I'm going to make this all like all residential, and then you just start doing like this, boom, yeah, boom, 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 or you even use this tool here. Let's go and fill everything in. And what's going to happen is your city is going to get destroyed if you do this. Because when you unpause the game, everybody's going to move into that area at once. And the way the game works, so people move in, they're all the same age. We'll just assume it's 20 years old. I don't know the exact age. Probably Google it and find out. But we'll assume everybody moves in at 20. They all get a house. And then I think I read somewhere online they live 6 in-game years. So about 6 in-game years later, they'll all die. And that's how you get a death wave. You basically you build out an area, especially with high density, and you can do the same thing with commercial. You zone out this whole entire area here. You're gonna get a lot of deaths at the same time. Just really with anything. So the name of the game is to be patient, really, and just zone a little bit at a time. Now on PC, if you're watching this and you're one of my PC friends, there's a mod called, I think it's called Life Cycle Rebalance. It might be something like that. That will randomize the age at which the people move in. So then you could kind of do this and you'll be all right. Because the people will move in and they'll have different ages, so they'll die at different times. But on console, which is what I'm playing on, PlayStation 4, if you do that, everyone's gonna, like I said, move in. They're gonna all move at the same age. They're gonna all die at the same age, you know, and then you're gonna have to pick them up and collect them when they die, and you're gonna have these big ebbs and flows in your population. And you can tell when you're in a death wave. So you go into city infos here, and you go to your stats, and you look at death rate, I believe is here. And you can start seeing, you'll see huge spikes. And if you haven't done a real good job zoning, you'll see much higher spikes. Mine's not too bad. I mean, you know, look at the numbers on the side. They're not real big numbers, we'll say. They're ranging between 0 and 180. And as your population grows, more people are going to die. So it's natural for it to kind of tend to trend upward. But I don't have huge spikes. I actually have a really strange decline in deaths. And that's probably when I put down the elder care. I put down a couple elder cares right around that time, and what it did is it extended the life, we'll say, of my senior citizens. Another thing to look at too with death waves or your death rate is your influx. So like folks like this, and you can see that they those slightly off shift because as people die, people will move in. So the way to get out of a death wave is basically to do nothing. Have adequate, you're going to have extra death care, really. You can go into the budget panel. You know, so you'll recognize you're in a death wave when you start seeing a lot of skull and crossbones. Or you see large numbers of people disappearing in your population. You can go to the economy at that point and go ahead and just boost up your death care. So your health care in general. That'll give you more hearses, so that you can collect more folks at once. That'll help you get it. You know, so that'll help do that. Now, of course, you're going to have good traffic to do this. If you have bad traffic, you're going to be in trouble. And this is how your city's going to die. If you have already traffic that's probably below, like, we'll say in the 70s or less, and hearses are struggling to get to the bodies to collect, and you have a death wave, what's gonna happen is they're not gonna be able to collect things. Your buildings are gonna go abandoned. You know, your commercial centers are gonna die because you don't have enough folks to go shopping, so then they'll go abandoned, and then your industry may also collapse as well. Because you zoned in a death wave, your traffic's going to get worse because all the people are going to move in. That influx chart I showed you is going to drive people to move in. Your residential demand is actually going to spike because you had all these people and your city was set up for, say, 52,000 people, and then like 5,000 died, and now you're at 47,000. Well, you're going to see a large spike in residential, and you're going to go, oh man, I guess I should zone some more because I see a large demand in residential. Nah, that is the wrong thing to do. I can't stress this enough. If you're in a death wave, do not zone any residential areas because you're going to compound. Because what's going to happen is you'll line the new people deaths up with the old people's death, and then you'll have a double death wave, and then it'll so on and so forth. It'll compound. It'll cause a huge influx of people because both the people replacing the dead people will come in as well as new people will come in. So fresh blood will come in. It'll create a monster traffic jam because you'll have all these people driving into your city at once. Then the hearses won't be able to pick up the bodies because they can't get around town to do it. And then your city will crumble and die. Your trucks won't be able to make delivery to your commercial area. Your commercial areas will start dying because there's not enough citizens to sustain them to buy the stuff. And it's kind of like a spiraling, downward spiraling death knell of your city. So to avoid death waves, okay, so how do you get them? You zone a bunch of stuff at once. Especially when the game's paused and everybody moves in at the same time. So don't do that. Have the game running and just zone a little bit at a time. You know, like this is kind of broken up into blocks that are pretty big sized blocks. So these blocks are what? We'll just go ahead and just measure them out real quick. Almost 3. I would say 3 road lengths wide, roughly. Say 2.5 by 1.5, we'll say. By 14 units wide, so they're pretty big blocks. So if it's me, and this is going to be all high density residential, so I'm starting here and I'm working my way down in here, and here's downtown. What I would do, I would probably like zone just like 1 block at a time. You know, boom, 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 fill them in. Go ahead and tinker with the mass transit. You know, think about what I want to do there. Maybe zone a little bit of office, zone a little bit of commercial while that's moving in. You know, check on my fishery or go check on the industry's DLC. Look at my parks, plant some trees, tinker with the campus, do something. Then come back and zone some more. After they have all moved in, you see all the buildings have come up, go ahead and zone some more. Another block. Then go tinker somewhere else. Do some detailing somewhere. Plan out your next strategy on what you want to do. Build out some more roads, whatever it may be. Do it that way. Kind of low and slow, as they say. Nice and easy. Zone a block at a time, and then people will kind of trickle in steady. Then people will die steady, and that way you won't have death waves. So that's kind of the only way really you can avoid death waves on console. Is just zone slow. You can use the death care stuff here, which is like the this guy here, the elder care, and you can use these to increase your birth rate, so you have more people getting born to help replace those people that are dying. I'm not exactly sure how these work in terms of like it gives you the average lifespan, but I don't know if that's like your whole city or it's like if I put this here and I put a residential neighborhood in here, do like these people have like 85 say average life, but like the people that don't, so like maybe the people that live in this neighborhood, they're like 75, and these are like 85, so like the average that you see on the menu is 80. Or does it just boost? Does just everyone die at 77, or does it like offset this so that these folks are now live longer? They live long and prosper, and these poor people, they just don't because they don't have elder care. That I'm not sure, but I tend to put these down in the neighborhoods, especially the big ones like this one. I think I will put something like this down. Let me just pop it down right now to help out the folks in here. So that's Deathwaves. So take your time, zone a little bit at a time, especially with your high density. Be careful. And go do some other things, and then come back and zone some more. And just kind of go back and forth, back and forth. Don't zone out a huge area, especially while the game's paused, or else you're going to be in big trouble, and your city will probably crash and burn. Thank you very much. I hope this is helpful. Take care, and as always, happy building.